Foffbop or something, isn't it?
Foffbok. Have you forgotten everything?
What did it mean?
Feet on chair. No.
Bum
feet
on.
Foffbok. Feet on floor. Bum on chair. That's right.
Okay.
Just checking what I've got. Some reminders. I haven't got my notebook, but we'll fucking go with it, shall we?
Mm-hmm.
Hello and welcome to episode 97 of I'm Fine, a chat around the subjects of health, wealth and well-being with myself, Damo, and a man whose recent body composition test came out at 90% sirloin steak and 10% egg. Mark. Hello. It did, didn't it? They're very sensitive, these machines.
It did.
Yeah, we're going to come into your diet in a little bit.
Thought you might touch on that.
Yeah.
Welcome back,
Yeah.
everybody.
Yeah, well, we've been away.
We've been away.
This is our second hiatus. Is that the right word?
Yeah.
Mm.
I don't think the first hiatus wasn't this long, was it?
No, I don't think so. This hasn't felt long, but it actually has been long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I think our numbers seem to have gone up now we've disappeared, which...
They seem to do better when we're not around.
Yeah. I think it's a
weird,
bit like
isn't
the
it?
sort of dead artist syndrome, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose so. We're a work in progress, and this podcast is no exception. In short, it's a poke at our perfectly imperfect lives, and if we can make just one person feel like they're not alone in all this madness. Is there still madness in the world? You know,
I think like last time you said it's been quiet.
Oh, right, okay. Then our work here is done. You can follow us on Instagram at imfinecast and search for all of our episodes by category and tag at our website, imfinecast.com. And feel free to drop us an email, as always. Our very lonely inbox. I know, thank you.
It might be different this time.
The only emails I get are from you. Going, hello. What's that, sorry? I talked over you.
No, I said now we've had this hiatus, maybe people will be invigorated to email
Of course
us.
they won't.
No,
Don't give a shit. And drop us an email at imfinecast@gmail.com. In this episode, we'll be catching up on what we've been up to since our last pod on the 17th of February.
Get out of town. Seriously?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sorry if you've missed us,
Mm.
but we're not machines, are we, Mark?
No. I've missed them.
Who? Oh, listeners.
The
right?
people.
The people. The masses.
Our
The
people.
great unwashed.
Yeah.
Can I say that? That's an insult, isn't it?
I don't
I'm
know.
sure they're all
Fragrant.
clean, hygienic. Yeah, but we're not. I say we're not machines. Are we? We're made up of all the same squishy, messed up mess of atoms and carbon that the rest of you.
Mm.
We're no different, are we? We've all got our vulnerabilities, and sometimes things just have to give, don't they? Just go. We've just got to. We've talked about it before on a few pods, haven't we? We just have to stop. Just go. You know what?
Hammer time.
Hardly feels like hammer time at the moment, does it? But,
Hammered.
yeah. But thanks for checking back in. If you're hearing this right now, you've tuned back in,
Yeah.
or you've got a little reminder on your app going, Damo Mark have just dropped one,
I
so
reckon
to speak.
I can almost see the host of hands being flung up into the air
Yeah.
in exaltation.
Mm.
And like, fuck it, they're back.
Yeah.
My life is complete.
Do you think there'll be like floats with people on celebrating, like a
Like a carnival in Rio.
Yeah, but just down, I don't know, parts of China where we
Yes.
listen to.
Yeah.
Well, we've already discussed. I was listening back to the our last pod. We were talking about all the places that are listening to us.
Yeah.
So was it 49 states of America? I haven't actually checked lately
Oh,
whether Hawaii have come on board or not. I should actually check that in a minute. But yeah, do you think there'll all be little parties going on?
One of the countries that listens to, or maybe it's a state, is I think it's American Outlying Islands.
Right.
I didn't know that was a thing.
That sounds made up.
Yeah.
Right. Have you not looked into that?
No.
Do I need to?
Nah.
Right. No, I'm interested to know where they are.
Yeah.
Go on,
It was like while you do that, one of the interesting things
we better be.
that I think we
that's
both
a dangerous thing to
that we both looked up was the distance from America to Russia, wasn't it?
Oh, that's really close, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, is it 50 miles or something?
Yeah, it is. Everyone goes, what? It's
Yeah.
like, no, if you think around the back of the world where no one's looking, the dark side of the
And
rock.
then there used to be a bridge or something, didn't it? It wasn't even closer or something. There was
Well,
not a 50-mile bridge.
Well, that might be. Keep padding, Mark. American Outlying Islands.
Yeah.
United States Minor Outlying islands are 9 right, and 9 island territories of the United States. Can you name any of them, Mark?
Well, it isn't going to be like Hawaii, is it?
No.
So is it American? They didn't really have an empire, did they?
Here's a clue. They're all as a name mostly followed by island for the first few.
Okay.
Okay, you know, got Baker Island, Howland.
Oh, yeah, I knew that one.
He didn't. Howland Island.
Howland Island.
Jarvis.
Jarvis Island.
Johnston Atoll.
That's smaller, I think.
Kingman Reef. Midway Atoll. Palmyra Atoll. And Wake Island. And
So who's listening to those? It fucking turtles.
Who's listening to this? I thought you were going to say.
No, but they're not. A reef and an atoll's hardly like...
You know what an atoll is,
conurbation, yes.
What's an atoll? Don't talk to me like that. Put it back in a box. I'm not having that tonight.
I don't know. It's a small island, isn't it?
Okay.
I don't really care at all.
And these are in the Pacific Ocean. And Navassa Island in the Caribbean Sea. Sorry, I left one off.
They must be populated then.
Currency is the US dollar,
Mm-hmm.
as you'd expect. That's about it.
So are they part of a state, or...? It's quite interesting, isn't it?
Well, I mean...
Relatively. It's
Yeah,
interesting
relatively.
it's going to get tonight.
I'm not even prepared.
You've had 2 months to prepare.
Joe Biden's the president,
Mm.
apparently, says he. I'll tell you what, I talked about not checking in on any news, and I still haven't really. I know there's a war on. I think there's a war broke out since we last spoke.
Yeah.
I don't think there was a war on. Well, there's a war.
There
There's
was
always
lots,
a war
yeah,
somewhere.
But
right?
not one that we're forced to support when we go into Sainsbury's, no.
Oh, Mark. Come on, let it out. Come on, this is the place to do it. Come on.
I just find Sainsbury's interesting that
We've talked about Sainsbury's before.
they would... This is one of the things I can't quite
They
understand.
have a woke aisle now, don't they?
A woke aisle. It's one of the things I can't quite understand. When an organisation, a national organisation, asks you to contribute to
Yeah.
a charity,
Yeah.
which is fair enough, I understand that, they have chosen charities. But it's like, it's DEC, isn't it, which is sort of recognised as the one big charity for things like this. I don't even know what it stands for, but it
Yeah.
seems to be. And I saw a company that said, oh, please send your donations via us and we will forward everything to DEC. And I think what happens is that Sainsbury's and then go, we've raised £2 million for Ukraine.
Yeah.
You've just been a broker. You've just looked after 2 million and then given it to the charity
Yeah.
that could have got it directly.
Disasters Emergency Committee.
Got it. Yeah. No, it just there's so many worthy things in the world that I think it's quite strange that they've entered almost the political arena. And you could say, well, it isn't political with
Well,
helping
absolutely.
refugees and things like that, which I totally agree with. But
But it is, isn't it?
you could guess which ones they were going to choose. They're not going to choose Yemen, and they're not going to choose
Very true.
Iran and Iraq, and they're
Pick
not
your
going to
wars, don't
mention
you?
81 people being beheaded in Saudi Arabia.
So what do you think comes...
Keep it light, keep it light.
No, that's a good point. But we'll all be tuning into the World Cup this winter, won't we?
Yes.
They have to make a political decision. I was trying to think what comes first. Does the sway or the swell of public opinion come first before they choose which bandwagon to jump on? I'm not doing down charitable works, but we've had this discussion in the gym of late, haven't we?
About Karen.
Well, it's one of the reasons we kind of came back. We felt we had a lot to say.
Yeah.
We're like, we just got nowhere to put it, so we're going to put it here. I don't know anything really about Russia. I don't know anything about... I mean, we have a friend who is a Russian spy.
Yes,
That's
and she's
about-
got very strong feelings on this.
All right, am I going to upset her?
I think we probably will.
Okay, excellent. I just wanted to
Regardless.
make sure we were going to. We're on brand.
Consistency is important.
Yeah. I don't know.
No, I'm not knocking. We're not minimising this.
No, I don't know anything really about the Ukraine.
No.
You've kind of said, well, they feel like us. They're almost European, but they're not European. And even saying that sounds awful. Saying that, hearing it back in my ears. But I don't think unless you've got kind of contacts, or we don't really know, do we? The
No.
ins and outs. We don't know what is in any of the leaders' heads. We don't know what their ultimate agendas are. And what we see is awful, but we've covered this a million times on here. When you look at certain news outlets, it's more than one-sided.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And then everyone's, you can't if you find a Russian product or you buy one by accident or wasn't it the oil tankers getting stopped, but they were full of cooking oil because it was Russian cooking oil or something. It was just almost there's no end to the kind of.
It goes back to our bit about that there's no ultimate truth.
Yeah, we're all stopped
It's not right to have a war.
Yeah,
but it isn't that simplistic.
Yeah, but we're down into that. Buying Russian biscuits is suddenly the worst thing you can do in the world.
Yeah.
Even if you didn't
and
do
not,
it by...
I think, and not allowing Russian tennis players at Wimbledon. And I'm sort of thinking...
Well, that's what I mean. It feels like it's more...
I don't understand that.
Yeah, but any of the bits that I have picked up seem to be those almost trivial pieces of... They're not trivial, but they're kind of... They feel trivial when you, like you said, there's a much bigger thing going on, and there are people being displaced, and it's awful, and no one's going to help them, essentially. Yeah. But we can all go down to Sainsbury's and pop a few tokens in the box, can't we? And
there was a phrase from something that you sent through to me that I'm sure we'll come up to later that I'm using to death at the moment, that food is not entertainment. Yeah. And we'll explain that later. Yeah. And what I've sort of felt in the same vein was suffering isn't entertainment. And I feel there's a sort of, here's half an hour of people getting bombed and battered and being displaced and losing their homes. Anyway, I'm wearing a yellow and blue ribbon, so at least I've done my bit. And here's Ant and Dec, and life goes on. It's almost it feels like disposable news that we have this bit of angst and all the people that wanted to come here and we were going to get money for taking them on board. I don't know how that's happened. I'd like to know how many have
it's
come.
Going.
Yeah. And are people managing, and is there anything else you can do? And once they're in this country, how are they settling in?
I think that's what I was trying to say, that there's all these things that have happened that people either have felt they've had to say, they've had to get on board with, because there's that element. Remember the black square that went on in Instagram? If you didn't do it, you were a racist.
Yeah. Just interjecting on that one, because it came up on Joe Rogan, and he was saying around people feeling pressurized in that. Yeah. He was saying to a couple of guests recently, one of the biggest things, or one of the biggest sort of hurtful things that can be raised at you is that you're racist. Yeah. And it's almost, you almost then have to prove that you're not. Yeah. Someone can throw that at you, like they did at Joe Rogan.
Yeah, of course.
And this made me smile, because one of the things that has been trivialized in the past is when you've gone to someone and they've gone, you go to somebody and you go, oh, you're racist, that action is racist. And they'll go, oh, no, some of my best friends are black. And that's always been like a throwaway. Yeah. But a black person who was on Joe Rogan used that and said, there is actual currency in that. Yeah. He said, because if people are calling you racist, Joe Rogan, for what, for using the N-word in the way that he did, and I know it was all convoluted and it wasn't accurate, but this guy went, you have thousands of black acquaintances, you have hundreds of black guests, you represent black people, you go drinking, you go on holiday. He said it would be impossible for you to be racist. And your actions prove it. And that's what I thought about the black square. I didn't put the black square up on my Instagram, and a couple of people I know, Amelia, was put under pressure. My argument was, I would like to go back to those people who showed that unity and say, what have you done since? What else on your Instagram has supported the cause that the black square was, And I sometimes would post something, and I can remember recently after that I posted a black soul singer that I've been listening to for the first time, and to me that's a positive thing, and was explaining how inspirational I found the music. Whereas a black square it's ticking a box the same way as wearing the ribbon on your lapel. Yeah. It doesn't actually help the cause. It helps assuage your social conscience.
That was all very political. And I guess I'm not... Well, you just said that. I just want to make it clear I'm not comparing the two, because they're very different things. The thing that kind of came into my head when you were talking then is the kind of the sense of helplessness, I guess, about the current situation. That what do you do? Do you go in there and start a big fight, and a fight that you probably can't ever stop, and will get out of hand and will obliterate everybody on the planet? It's very complex, and ultimately we don't know really what's really going on. You could say about that about any conflict that's kind of happened, but it is interesting how kind of these organisations are picking a side.
Yes,
it's not about not picking a side, because you want to stick up for the people who are being bullied ultimately, because that's the right thing to do. Yeah, it's another level of admin for us all, isn't it? To be seen to be doing the right thing.
In some ways, well, it's interesting you say that. In some ways, I think it's not a level of admin, because we're told what to think. Okay. So I'm not going to go, oh, actually, I'm gonna have a little think about whether the invasion of a country might be a good idea. So it isn't that, but it's looking at the nuances.
But obviously, we've been on the other side of that, haven't we? If you think about it, with the Gulf War, I guess the attempt at 91 or whatever it was, and then the reboot. The media were telling us that was the right thing to do, to go to a country that wasn't our own, that was a million miles from us, and to get rid of the. Of course, we understand the reasons why that was done. Some were legit, some weren't. Obviously, I'm not going to go into that. But it was seen as, we've won. Yeah. And you could go, hold on, the boot's on the other foot here.
Yeah, there might be other people who are going, that doesn't look like a legal.
And I don't know. I guess I'm probably sitting on the fence. I don't really know. And I know what I hear, and I can make a decision about what I think is good or bad, or the right thing or the wrong thing. And I have a judgment, but I don't know. And we've talked about this many times on here. We probably don't know the full story. I don't know enough. I don't feel I know enough of anything to even have a proper opinion on it. I mean,
yeah. No, the only one
that's
thing.
That's what I'm doing here.
Yeah,
talking.
Well,
to
we
you
are saying
about my
but something
ill-informed opinions.
No, everybody in the world is ill-informed. Nobody. knows.
I guess it would never be informed enough. Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's interesting looking back at some of the stuff, and I know we probably won't talk about COVID today, but looking at some of the things and. That American.
Let it go, Mark. Crikey.
No. What I was thinking was that the truth changes over time, and the truth. When you said it's more admin, I think the truth these days is given to us as this is what you shall believe.
Yeah.
And that's the point I was saying about Sainsbury's. It's every time you go in shopping, it's like give money to Ukraine, give money to DEC for Ukraine, help Ukraine. Yeah. Then the dialogue is set, and if you go, I'm not going to give any money to Ukraine, it'd be like Do you know what I mean? There isn't any sort of choice now. I think there's a right way of doing something in terms of the way it's presented and a wrong way. And that was the point I was saying. When I sent that DM to a friend at the track with that rubbish gif or meme about the masks, and USA Today contacted me within 2 hours.
Oh, fact-checking you mean?
Fact-checking me.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you think about that in retrospect, firstly, I was right. That's the first thing. I haven't even got an apology from USA Today. But secondly, we almost handled it in a sort of nonchalant way. Oh, an American newspaper's been reading your DMs.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
But it's
if you were to unpack that, what a mental situation that is.
That, in a way, is even... So the things we were talking about is that it wasn't cut and dried. Masks are good. Yeah. No mask is bad. There are nuances.
You say no one's learned from what's happened over the last couple of years, and what they're listening now just might be bullshit. Is that what you're saying? Or might, because everyone's gone mad on the fact checker. Who isn't a fact checker now?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And remember that thing that we talked about a while ago, which is what's the difference?
Conspiracy theory and the truth.
Yeah, 6 months.
6 months, yeah.
Yeah. That one, I mean, it's still happening, isn't it? Yeah. It's almost like we're like goldfish going around in a bowl. Yeah. And we're just forgetting what's gone before.
I mean, I don't know if I shared this with you, and this isn't me trying to be flippant or even to be naive. One of the things that I think is paramount for any proper democracy is, and COVID showed this, is the protection of its people. At the end of the day, most governments will try and stop people dying. That's what you would hope. They will provide healthcare, they will provide defence in case of invasion, they will help to ensure that there's clean water and that people aren't abused or murdered, they will provide police.
Prolonging of life.
Yes. And what we found with COVID is that there was a hierarchy, and it's come out today that the care homes thing was the worst policy decision in decades. It's just come out.
Shock horror, right?
Yeah. That Matt Hancock going, we're protecting the care homes by chucking everyone out of hospital without any sort of tests and checking them back in care homes.
And again, all the people that were countering that at the time.
Yes.
Our friend Ivor Cummings and others.
Yes. Who were basically blocked by Twitter.
Absolutely. Well, they're suddenly right, are they now?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been come out. I literally just heard it on the 6 o'clock news today. It was something like one of the biggest policy mistakes not this government.
But that's also okay to do now, isn't it? To come out and go, sorry, we fucked that up next.
Yeah. Or 41 apologies that Boris Johnson gave for Partygate in his response to Commons. I counted them. 41 apologies. He said sorry for it. So
it's okay.
He obviously means it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
it's all okay if you can. Sorry, where are you going with that?
Going back to the death thing, one of the things that I cannot understand, and again, this isn't being naive, it isn't being flippant. I saw the various amounts of money the worth in money that various countries had given Ukraine in terms of stuff to help them fight the war against the Russians. And America is like so way and beyond anybody else.
Right.
And it was $4-point-something billion.
Right.
And it had a little memory of me of the sort of Afghanistan thing when they left Afghanistan really quickly and left,
let people high and dry.
Left people high and dry, but left all their military equipment there for the Taliban to fly around in helicopters.
That's right, yeah.
And what I was thinking is, if the American government have decided to give £4 billion worth of military aid, two things come to mind. One is, that means the war is going to be enhanced or intensified because suddenly they've got an awful lot more missiles. Now, you could go, on one hand, that'll help them defend, but it also means a lot more people are going to die.
Yeah.
And the second...
and you'll wind the opposition up even more.
Yeah.
They'll go in harder and, that's why these things, that's why fighting retaliation doesn't work. It just escalates.
So then the second thing is, well, if you've got £4 billion, and £4 billion's a lot of money, if you've got £4 billion worth of military equipment, why don't you go over and do it yourself?
I can't do that, Mark.
No, I know you can't politically. I'm being devil's advocate. But the other thing, this is the third thing,
right.
is why...
It's okay to get someone else to do it.
Yeah, but why is it being given? Why can't it be loaned? Why are we saying to a country, we're going to arm you to the teeth? And you could go, it's to defend their borders. You're being ridiculous, Mark. We're helping them so that people don't die. We're not. We're giving them £4 billion worth of military equipment that will intensify the war.
Yeah.
More people will die. It doesn't matter. A death is still a death. If it's a young 18-year-old Russian who's basically been conscripted and sent against his will to fight against people that used to be his neighbours.
Yeah, right.
And that's what I can't understand. It's like, you can then have that $4 billion and we'll keep giving you more and more weapons and make you stronger and stronger.
There's loads of different sides, isn't it? There's more than two sides. It's not right, but here's some more of the stuff to carry on doing the thing that
war's
isn't right.
Bad. Have some guns.
Yeah. And we can't get involved, but we're going to by proxy.
Yeah.
You want to throw a punch in a fight, you just ask someone else to do it. Can you get that? No, the one in the red. No, not that one. The one at punch in, would you? Because I don't want to be seen to. Because if I get seen to be, he'll probably come and punch me in the face. I don't want that.
Yeah. I'll give you a baseball bat. You can keep it.
That's it, isn't it? So Putin isn't stupid. Going, well, he knows all that's happening. That doesn't make it any better. Go, no, we didn't do it. We just supplied that.
But we banned Russian tennis players, so at least that's sending out a message, isn't it?
Right, and the cooking oil.
And vodka, there were some clubs, wasn't there? And I think Smirnoff is made in somewhere like Salford or something. It was like... And someone went...
Most of this stuff is made here now, isn't it?
Or China. Someone went, not only are you pouring it away, you've already bought it. All you've done is poured your profits down, Yeah. Putin reversed his decision on invasion of Ukraine due to Smirnoff crisis in Manchester bar. Yeah. Anyway, we said keep it light.
Yeah, we did. So where have we been, Mark?
We've been everywhere, haven't we? We've had a topsy-turvy roller coaster.
Yeah. Well,
mentally.
Yeah. I think. I feel responsible for both breaks.
Yeah. Yeah. You are
because essentially, snowflake.
Yeah.
Yeah, you miss doing that. I miss doing these, but I think you would. I like to think you would admit that it was the right thing to do.
Yeah,
because you don't want to do one on your. Although you did say, "Oh, maybe I can just." There's a couple of times you go, "Maybe I can just do it on my own." I'm like, "They are."
Yeah.
Go on then, big man. Open that laptop.
Can I borrow your equipment? No, fuck off.
You can. Do you know how to use it? No. Can you come record it for me? No. Do you want me to come back and do a podcast with you?
I thought the interesting thing was that, and this was very grown up of me, and I'm like proud of myself, was that although I was like, exactly like you said, I wanted it to continue, it was right to stop.
Yeah.
But I think the most sensible decision I made in my own head was to say, don't keep poking the bear.
Yeah.
Don't keep like, how are you feeling? Like, can you talk tonight? Can we have a It was, and I was thinking, we said May the 1st, didn't we? We said we'd regroup on May the 1st.
We're not far off,
and this just happened really by coincidence, wasn't it? It was literally, I said, can we do it this week?
You pinned me down and said, we're doing it.
But it just feels right. It feels...
Yeah, I think so. We've been going through some stuff. Actually, just before I go to talk about that, we had a very open conversation about that very thing. And this might be interesting, hopefully, for people who...
Stick with
hopefully
us.
So.
It's an interesting bit coming up.
Please. I really wanted to carry on. And I have that kind of character where there's loads of things I want to do.
Yeah.
I know very much that when I'm at overwhelm, I've talked about my flamethrower before.
Mm-hmm.
The tiniest little thing
Mm-hmm.
can force you to get the flamethrower
Mm-hmm.
out and just want to just destroy everything.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm alone on that.
No.
Part of the frustration and the anger with that is I'm not doing the things I really want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
Emotional mind, and it's been so long since we talked about these things.
Yeah. Although it's in the
What's the other
news,
one?
isn't it? Wise Mind.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, what's in the news?
With old, what's the face?
Is this thing you posted to
Amber Heard.
Amber Heard, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you put a pin in that,
Mm.
please? I want to talk to you about that. The upset and the anger is about, I really want to do that, and I want to do it well.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that to do it well, I need the headspace.
Yeah.
And it's not right on you. If I was doing it on my own, it'd be like, well, disappear at my own arse,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Yeah.
But there's you to think about as well. And of course, I feel like letting you down because you want to do it. And you're probably, is it fair to say you could probably do one of these, and probably have done, when your head's all over the place? You seem to be able to find another gear. Is that fair? I'm not saying you don't find them difficult when you're not in a good space.
We've discussed this before.
But you've normally turned up kind of hell or high water, really. And I've been the one that's going, I can't fucking do it.
Yeah, I think.
Do you know what I mean? But I think it's been good that we've had that open dialogue about that.
Yeah, no, I think dialogue's been good. I think
and I've sat there and gone, you've been round before, and just before we hit the record button, I've had a meltdown and we've not done it. But this felt like I don't want to get to that point again because it's not nice for anyone,
No.
either of us. But I thought it's quite healthy how we came to the chat around stopping. Although you were disappointed, you'd make it very clear that you were disappointed.
Yeah.
Some people probably don't want to hear things like that, but I think it's good to hear because I know it. I'd rather know it and hear it from you than.
Yeah, I think we mentioned this before.
I'm proud of us, Mark. I'm really proud how we got to that, like grown-up boys.
We mentioned this before about emotional numbness, and I think at the moment, because obviously a lot of, as you said, stuff has been going on, is that my emotional numbness is my greatest positive, my greatest negative at the moment, because it allows me to totally escape from emotional mind. And I'm not even in wise mind, I'm just in whatever I'm doing mind.
Yeah.
So if I'm on a walk, I'm on a walk. If I'm driving
there is
a car,
something right in the middle. I don't know if it has a name, but
I think it's almost like a fourth one. It's almost just sort of is floating, isn't it? It's just you're existing, but you're not.
And you're right. It's an incredibly uplifting place, but it can also.
I don't think it is for others.
But I think it can also be. It can turn on a hairpin, can't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
But the same feeling can be the worst of feelings. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. And it was really funny. I posted something about Joe Transini on an Insta story. He has BPD and he's been very, very direct about the effect, and he disappeared for quite a few months. He struggles a lot, and he discusses suicidal ideation on a daily basis. And I think it's quite hard for other people to hear that, because he does it in such a sort of matter-of-fact way.
Yeah.
He sometimes does it with a sort of split screen of his brain and him.
Right.
And his brain's going, kill yourself, just kill yourself. He's going like, will you just shut up and try and eat my dinner? And it's hard viewing. But he posted something that he just won an award for being a song he'd written for a pantomime in Norwich, which isn't like exactly
right.
It isn't Will Smith type ground, but and he played the song that he played, and I cried, and that's the first time I've cried physically. I mean, inside I'm crying every fucking day, but it's the first time I cried we should
tears. Laugh, so we both laughed just for record.
Yeah.
I wasn't laughing at you.
No, I'm laughing at you. No, and physically cried, and it was interesting that it wasn't because of what the song was about. It was because of seeing somebody who I think can be in that emotional wilderness, knowing what he was going through made it sad for me. So I was sad for him that the song had come from sorrow and emptiness, but it was quite interesting. But I think a lot of the rest of the time, emotionally, I can just turn so much off, which is a blessing because it protects you. Yeah. But it's not necessarily.
But you have those feelings where you know it's ultimately not. Like I said, it has a time and a place, and and you can use it almost as a power, an uplifting one. But you can also find yourself in that exactly the same place, but it'd be the opposite. Do you find you get to the point where I guess you've got to kind of tell yourself to come out of it, haven't you? Or because a lot of the stuff about kind of self-discovery is understanding what you're feeling and accepting what you're feeling and knowing it will pass. That's quite an interesting. I saw a clip with a few actors sat around. I think it's like De Niro and Tom Hanks and maybe Shia LaBeouf or something like that. And Tom Hanks was just talking about like anxiety and difficult just in acting, I think. And he has a mantra which is it will pass.
Yeah.
Which has kind of been going around my head for a few weeks.
Yeah, and that's
which
one
I
of
thought
the
was
things
quite
from
interesting.
therapy about having when you're meditating, having thoughts and putting them on a boat and watching the boat sail down the river and letting those thoughts go.
And I've seen some clips from Kobe Bryant as well, who had a similar kind of thing, ultra competitive, very, very kind of single-minded, not always a positive from what I've heard and what I've heard him say himself. And they kind of say, how do you deal with the lowness or the anxiety? Because, when you're at that kind of end of that competitive, athletic kind of arena, and you're at the top of your game, you've got the classic, you've got further to fall, haven't you?
Yeah.
So I think some of them do suffer from that. He was kind of saying that you got to sit with it. I guess you give it time, almost start to ruminate.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a similar kind of thing, knowing that it won't last forever.
Yeah.
And it's almost like you owe it to yourself to live with it and wear it and feel all the uncomfortableness from it.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of stuff going around at the moment, isn't it? That you need to fail to grow.
Yeah, I mean, it's an old
it's a similar sort of thing. It's that bit about.
But also, there's a saying, I even used it today, about failing well and failing quickly, so you can then move on. But this is a kind of, again, we've talked about kind of taking a step back, like we have with this, so you can kind of see things more clearly and hopefully grow back better, grow back stronger.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's not go there. Build back better. Great, and have a great reset. Because you can't force your way out of it. I think that's probably where I was going with your thing. You can't just go, oh well, other people have got worse problems than me.
Turn that frown upside down.
Yeah, that's just, it might work, but you're kidding yourself, aren't you? Yeah. And if this lasts days or weeks, I guess I'm not very patient. But that stuff's hard to live with and hard to kind of be patient with.
Yeah.
I think I'm finding what I'm trying to say. I think I'm finding the kind of the positive in sitting in the negative.
Okay.
Slowly, it's kind of like learning a new skill.
I mean, just changing that slightly in terms of something I was going to say on this was that I was hearing someone talk about the 12-step program, and I went to Gamblers Anonymous. I think I went long enough that it was a fantastic help. But one of the things on the 12-step program this person was talking about was the links to gratitude and being grateful for things and making lists of them. And I thought that the other day at the gym, that someone was good. I think it was one of Amelia's clients, and a lot of them are very inspirational at the moment, that their approach is like, I'm going to keep doing it, and it's really good to see. And I think someone had, out of the blue, had just posted something like, I'm fucked off with it. It's like, this was shit, and I gave up and I left. And my view, I think I replied to one person and said, but you went. Do you know what I mean? It's like, surely going and having a bad session is still better than not. But the gratitude thing was, I just thought the last couple of days when I've been to the gym, what a blessing of all the people that exist in this world. There's probably only, 1%, 2%, 3% who at my age and in my position have my ability to do what makes me happy, to go into a gym, to lift weights, to be around like-minded people, to have the money to be able to do it, to have the resources to eat steak every day. And it's like, that's out of this world, a blessing. And I think I'm changing very, very quickly in terms of like, there's no reason to have any negativity when I go into the gym. There's no reason to.
But that's what I was saying a minute ago. That is where we normally go.
Yes. Yeah.
And
which is why I was saying it's just, I've just gone off and
work. That's all I'm saying. Sometimes that is it's a massive part of something you should do every day, whether you're feeling bad or not. I guess, but.
Oh, it sometimes isn't enough. Yeah.
No, I guess that's what I'm saying. But it is good to.
I think it's turning my and I'm just using that as one
example.
So
you are turning your frown upside down. Is that?
I think I'm just using the gym as an example because I'm enjoying it so much at the moment that it's like.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's great if you can sit in the pocket of that.
Yeah.
Which we might come on to with your diet in a minute, but it's the classic being in the pocket more often than not, I guess, isn't it? That's it's being happy more often than not. It's being in a positive state more often than not.
Yeah.
That's the way. It's not all the time. We talked about this a lot. You cannot.
No.
Again, like the Kobe, you cannot keep winning. You cannot keep being the best. You cannot, and also you can't become the best unless you weren't the best at some point.
Yeah. It's interesting from the last pod I'd used the "Not My Circus, Not My Monkeys," and just linking.
We've used it a lot, haven't we? It's come up in training a lot, but it is a brilliant mantra,
In the last 48 hours, I've done it twice, and it's resulted in me deleting WhatsApps, fortunately, before the people saw it. And they weren't...
interesting.
And that's what I hate.
It's almost like like a mission statement, isn't it, for a company, if you're communicating a message or something. You just go, right, am I on brand here? Well, so that's a good thing to go, hold on, that's not my circus, that definitely isn't my monkeys.
Yeah.
It's a good check yourself before you wreck yourself, isn't it?
It came to the statement we've used before, as I said, from Amelia's friend in Denmark, who used to say, what do I do with that? Somebody had WhatsApped me something, and my first reply had been...
You don't just write that back, Mark.
Sorry?
You don't just write, not my circus, not my monkeys.
Someone had written something, and it had caused me... My first response was not particularly aggressive, but a bit sort of, that's sort of, that's where we are on that sort of thing. And then I did a second WhatsApp
almost
afterwards.
like, that's just the way it is, kind of.
Well, sort of like... Well,
a bit of a flippant response.
Someone had said something practical, and I'd sort of gone, if it was that easy, we'd all do it, sort of thing. And then I'd got another response after that sort of, this thing actually makes me feel quite negative when you write that. And I just thought, they don't need to read that. They put something to me that wasn't objectionable. It was their thoughts, which were totally relevant.
But arguably, should they even have put that on your doorstep in the first place?
No, it was fine to put it.
Oh, okay.
It was fine to put it. And when I deleted it...
So it wasn't one of those things, what do I do with, you weren't going, what do I do with that?
It was the answer to what do I do with that was you don't have to do anything. Somebody is making a statement that isn't loaded. Right, it isn't. It's just a matter of fact. Did you know this? And I read it as, did you know this, idiot? And it wasn't. It was like, I'm informing you of something, and I'm going, you're being patronising. Okay. That's why I'm cross. Right. But the one thing I hate with WhatsApp is when you delete 2 messages, the other person spends the whole evening, why did they delete? What did they write? And then sometimes people write back.
Does it tell you that they've deleted it, like Signal does?
And that's just, WhatsApp does that because it's a fucking bitch.
Yeah. I know
that is horrible. Don't do that. You don't have to do it. If you want to unsend something, someone's written something to you twice.
You before, then I've had to explain what was deleted because I knew you were fucking lose your mind about it.
It just causes consternation.
Of course it does.
So using that then stops the going down the rabbit hole, because your 2 evocative or my 2 evocative statements would have demanded a response, and then we're into an argument. And for all his faults, Jordan Peterson's thing about if you're in an argument with somebody, you don't want to win it.
Yeah,
you want both of you to come out of it okay. It isn't a matter of winning, because if you're winning, you have to live with the person that lost it.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's really good. It isn't, arguments aren't that. I can't convince people.
It's like,
that masks are stupid, because if someone believes they're... Do you know what I mean? There's no point arguing about that.
Yeah.
It's like when we're going to talk about my diet, maybe. I was saying to someone the other day, I'm not putting forward my diet as a panacea for everybody. What I'm doing is informing people what has worked for me. If you want to try it, give me a bell and I'll advise you.
Yeah.
I wouldn't once say, you should do this.
Well, that's a good way of segueing into your diet, because we've talked about diet that you're on. You've talked about wanting to be on this diet for a while. And we've also talked about how, I want to say vehement, is that the right word? How vehement some people are who maybe don't subscribe to that kind of diet or way of living.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to kind of shoehorn the not my circus, not my monkeys in here. There's some people who are kind of like activists about living a certain way, eating a certain way. And there's others who are going, do this. You know what I mean? It's,
I'm evangelical. I'm evangelical about my diet in that I want to say this has happened to me. But I'm not an activist in going, and you should therefore follow.
Yes, and we've talked about, hopefully we'll come on to this in a minute, or the
Where
second
are we with time?
Part of, we'll probably split this in 2, won't we?
Yeah.
Are you going to cook me some food?
Yeah.
Tonight? That's exciting.
I think you know what it is.
This next bit might give it away. There's quite a few things around this diet, isn't there? And I want to kind of bring the not my circus, not my monkeys bit in, because, and also kind of we'll go back into some of the reasons why we haven't been able to do the pod and personal reasons and that kind of stuff. I guess the challenges you come across in trying to live a life that you feel is right and true for oneself covers lots of different things, like the things you do for entertainment, or the things you do for joy, or the way you want to look after yourself, i.e. whether that's just training, what you're eating, what you're drinking, the company you keep, the creativity you may want or not want, the inspiration you may want or not want in your life, the intellectual debates you may want or not want in your life. I could go on. Lots of different things. We talk about it in terms of functional and dysfunctional, don't we? When we're talking about it. And we've also talked in the past about order and disorder. For example, it's called a disorder.
Yes.
Whereas your argument was, whose life is ordered? If anyone's life was completely ordered, they'd be standing out like a sore thumb, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
When it comes to diet particularly, when you take on a certain diet or certain food choices, which you've done, there is sound scientific, I guess, knowledge and substance in that.
Yeah.
It's also become something that you feel is massively right for you and your body, for all the reasons we'll go into. Yet, the amount of fucking problems it causes with other people, everything we do in our lives has an impact on the people around us. We get to a point, not everybody, maybe get to a point in life where you start to question the things you've done for many, many years. And then when you kind of go, I don't want to do that anymore, or actually that doesn't really agree with me, so I'm going to change that. The conflict that causes is kind of really hard to comprehend. When you realise what it is and you try to change it, it's not as easy as you may think.
It's like not drinking.
Yes.
People would rather you kept drinking.
Yes. No, even though they know
People would rather I ate veg.
even though they know full well that it's bad for them and bad for you.
Yeah.
And we found, but neither of us drink now. You've been not drinking for a lot longer than I have. But you suddenly realise that when you talk about the virtues of not drinking, you suddenly like to think that we kind of think about how we're saying things and the language we're using. It's easy to suddenly sound virtuous, isn't it? And a bit of a prick.
Yeah, and preaching.
Yeah, when you do. So I think we're really conscious of that. Let's talk about your diet. You're not doing anything massively radical. You've already kind of given a few clues away. Yeah,
there's one step back before we discuss the diet.
I've probably done this the wrong way round, but...
No, that's fine. The thing that came, and I didn't ever put this as an Insta story. I wrote it and never put it down. And I don't think I made this up. I think maybe just the wording was slightly different. It was something along the way that the biggest companies in the world are IT, arms, pharma and food. Basically, I think there was someone who was saying that in America there's basically 12 companies that run food in America. And IT, and we've talked about this, has one goal, or social media has one goal, which is engagement. There's other goals that come out of that, but what they want is people spending as long as possible looking at their product, interacting with their product. People that make weapons of war would not have a business without wars. So their interest isn't peace, it's the ongoing conflict in the world. That has to happen, or else they go out of business.
Yeah, back to your why 4 billion is...
And I'm sure somebody has said to Mr. Biden, if you want our votes...
Yeah, of course.
The pharmaceutical industry doesn't want people to get better. No matter what people might go, well, of course they do. That's what the drugs are, maintenance drugs. I was put on statins for the rest of my life. I've come off them because I've researched it and I think it was a lazy decision. And I read someone who said, if your GP never tries to change the drugs you're on, then he's just your pimp. Do you know what I mean? It's come in, Mark, and let's talk. You've been on statins 3 years. Let's have a talk. Do you need to stay on there? Is it still important? Let's have a review of these drugs that we put you on for the rest of your life. Or is it because he's getting a free pen from Pharma? But the food one, the food one was the biggest one for me. And food industries do not want you to be healthy. They want you just to buy more of their product. They have no investment in your health. That isn't their job. So no matter what they might put, that this is 50% less vegetable oil, or this is the majority of manufactured food, processed food, is to encourage you to eat more of it. It isn't. There are very, very few health foods. And this is what then made me think, and this is interesting, this is going back in time, there used to be adverts for milk, like drink milk. What was it? I can't remember. What was it? I can't remember what it was, but...
No.
There was go to work on an egg. So people...
instead of a bus?
Yeah.
Oh, right, okay.
So you're advertising just a product. You're advertising milk, not
Hold
a process.
on. How can we forget one of the best milk ads in the world?
The Accrington Stanley.
Hey, you drinking milk? Here, give us some now. Get off. What are you in Rush Drinks? That one.
Yes.
Yeah.
So milk was advertised as a thing. Eggs were advertised as a thing. There was meat used to be advertised. It's like, here's an advert for pork chops.
Oh, Bernard Matthews.
Yeah. Well, that's now we're getting into processed. But what I'm saying is that I then started looking and thinking, why processed food is a man-made, it isn't a food as such. It's a combination of materials. It's a combination of chemicals. It's a combination of whatever to make a product. It isn't a food. And anyway, I've done loads of research and I've done loads of following different people from a lot of carnivores, a lot of vegans, a lot of food experts. And I've come to this conclusion. For centuries and centuries, man has existed on basic foods, not convoluted man-made things.
But there wasn't such a thing.
Yeah.
It's what you could run after and kill.
Yes.
Or go and forage.
Yeah. And so I'm thinking, okay, so obesity is now one of the biggest causes around cancer. But one of the decisions I've said when I'm going carnivore is people going, that red meat will give you cancer. And it's like, show me the research paper. The research paper that goes into red meat was initially funded by Coca-Cola because they're trying to divert everyone from sugar. The other thing is that red meat was put alongside processed meat when these studies were done. It was like, well, we'll just put them all in together. So you had your, ham and your turkey Twizzlers and grass-fed beef. And now everything is around climate change. So I'd be made to feel guilty. Yeah. Like, oh, you're eating meat? Okay. Rising sea levels down to that. Yeah. Anyway, there's arguments on both sides for that.
Of course.
So what I've done is think, do I want, and you saw I put an Instagram story for the contents of Beyond Meat's burgers.
Yeah.
You would not put that in your mouth if you read the ingredients.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pea protein, water, fat, and fat. 3 different kinds of fats.
Yeah.
And then a load of chemicals and binders to make it look like beef.
Yeah.
It is not healthy.
But made to look
like the thing you don't want to eat. It's the biggest irony of all,
isn't it?
So I'm not against... why should I be? How could I be against people that are vegan or vegetarian? I've got no right. It's like in that I would hope, although this isn't the case, that people wouldn't be against me being carnivore.
Yeah, it is a difficult argument when you're sitting there eating grass-fed beef, probably cooked in butter. Yeah. Right?
Or beef fat, yeah.
Yeah. And then someone is having a pop at you about not having veg, and they're tucking into one of those particular things that is not meat product, but it's got all sorts of shit in it. Yeah. It's a stretch, isn't it? It's hard.
It's hard to defend the meat thing because of the sound bites that climate change is due to.
Well, first of all, you're not sitting there going, what the fuck are you eating?
Yeah.
That looks like, regurgitated, you're not, are you? You're not making them feel bad because of, but it's almost like, this is what I was trying to say, they're not my circus, not my monkeys bit. It's like, but the other way round, people seem so angry about it.
Well, it's like the drinking, no drinking. Why?
And if you beat them on the nutritional bit where it's got the same kind of regurgitating stuff that you've already told me.
It has got the same nutrition.
But it's also got a load of other crap in it.
It's where does that nutrition come from?
So the top trump of, from the top trump of things, you're probably going to win that one. Yeah. Scientifically. Yeah. But then if they lose that argument, they'll probably go on to the, you're the reason the sea levels are rising, or that we're all...
And the climate change, because there's so many documentaries showing that. I think the interesting thing for me has been that people have wanted or required me to justify my decision. Yeah. And to the point of feeling happy to comment about how either misguided or wrong or obsessive, like quite openly, going... something like, so I have 50 eggs a week, and people going, you must be really bunged up then. My answer to that is I have never been more regular.
But it's also, where does that come from?
Well, it comes from things like, and like a few people are going about, what about all that cholesterol?
How many eggs before you can't shit anymore? I mean, I wouldn't even... I know it's not even a thing I've heard.
And if I was... Oh, no, a lot of people. Really? So if I was eating 50 eggs a week...
If you're shoving eggs up your arse, I can imagine it. But I don't know where that comes from.
No. And it's sort of... do you not think if I, after a couple of weeks of doing this, if I hadn't had a shit, that I might realise eggs weren't for me? Do you know what I mean? It's like, but if I'm saying that I have never had, on this diet, I've never had constipation, I've never had any problem at all.
Yeah, I mean, you can't stop shitting, let's be.
Talk enough. So there would be an example. And then people
Yeah.
would go, a couple of people have gone, oh, do you have all the yolks as well? Because of the cholesterol. And I was going, how much cholesterol is there in there? And do you realise there's two types of cholesterol? And you realise cholesterol has to be used for the conversion of vitamin D. And it's like, no, I just know that a politician in the 70s, so there's a lot of cholesterol in eggs.
That's right. But are they genuinely concerned about your welfare? Or is there a jealousy? Because didn't you ever saw if someone's seeing you eat steak for breakfast and said, oh, I wish I could do that?
Yeah. Well,
and you're like, you can?
Yeah.
So you're just going to find you're going to find a reason why I shouldn't be, because you fucking want to be able to.
There's a whole list. So the list goes from you're going to get cancer. Someone actually yesterday said to me, all that red meat is going to you're going to go to an early grave.
Right.
So that there's the top one, which is the health thing. The second one is, that's typical Mark. You're obsessive. You're just trying to be different. The next one is then people going, well, actually, you do need a certain amount of fibre in your diet. And I'm going, what do you need fibre for? And they're going, because you should have green veg. Why
is this the same fibre that destroys some people's intestines?
Yeah.
Is that the same fibre?
Yeah. And I was saying,
not everyone, just
I'd then go,
balance.
I'd say, oh, you mean I should be having a bit of broccoli with my steak? And they go, well, it wouldn't hurt. And I'm going, what would it bring to the table? And they were going, well, broccoli, it's good for you. And I went, what's in broccoli?
Look at it, it's green.
Yeah. All broccoli
Kermit's
has...
green, you wouldn't eat him.
Near enough all it has is a bit of vitamin C that basically when you boil it to a pulp, because it's inedible unless you boil it or steam it, gets
If it's
lost.
so good, why aren't we just gnawing on raw fucking broccoli?
Yeah.
In front of the TV.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll go and pick a potato and chew on that. No, I have to actually do something to it to make it edible so it doesn't kill me, like cashew nuts.
Yeah.
I told you this one, didn't I?
I think you did,
Raw cashew nuts kill you.
Yeah.
If you have 10 of them, you're dead. So...
Oh, God.
So anyway.
Yeah.
Evangelical. So this is... I'm not trying to convert a single person, and this wouldn't work for people.
No.
But this is what my diet looks like, and this is why I'm doing it in a nutshell. I have 4 eggs for breakfast. They keep me full. I don't snack. I don't feel hungry.
Yeah.
And for lunch, I have steak, often with a couple of eggs. That's it.
What, for the day?
No. Then,
Right.
then if I do get a bit hungry, if I've been working out or something, I'll have a can of tuna or a can of mackerel or a salmon fillet as a snack. And then at night, I will generally have something with a big protein source. So I'll either have 2 salmon fillets, which is like 50 grams of protein, another steak. I will have a few mushrooms. I'll have a few tomatoes occasionally, and I have a tiny bit of fruit. I have a couple of bananas a week. That's it.
Yeah.
And so I repeat that every day.
Yeah.
And
you've been doing what for 6 weeks, 8 weeks?
Yeah, no, 6 weeks, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do have some dairy, so I sometimes put cheese on top of the steak. I have full fat milk if I'm going to drink, and I have Greek yogurt. And I top up my protein. I'm trying to have 1 gram of protein for 1 pound of body weight. So I'm on 150 grams of protein a day. And you have to eat quite a lot of stuff to get 150 grams of protein. And the end result is my sleep has never, ever in my life been this good.
Yeah.
Like literally, I've never had such refreshing, good, deep sleep. I don't have any aches in my body. I don't have any problems with my joints. The neuropathy that I had in my hands that I mentioned before with the pins and needles.
In the last pod, I was just listening to it on the way in. You're talking about your hand spasms.
Yeah.
They've all gone, have they?
It's happened twice in 6 weeks.
Okay, that's good.
I'm recovering from injuries quicker if on the track I have a bit of tweak or a pull.
You pulled your hamstring and didn't.
I tweaked it, and 5 days later I ran.
Yeah, and it pretty much hit, right?
Yeah, I mean I was careful when I ran, but it still got me to the top of the rankings.
But you've had some of those injuries for like just lingering, right? Before.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
cool.
So I then did a body composition, and I accept that the body composition machine I use isn't state of the art. But
is this the one that said you were 90% steak and 10% egg? So these results weren't quite right. Is that right? Okay, right.
But it's a consistent inconsistency. So if I've always done my body composition on the same machine, it doesn't matter that it's not. It just means. Yeah. And since
you put these stats up on Insta, which were very impressive.
So since January, I've lost 2 kilos. I'm not trying to lose weight. I don't particularly want to lose weight. And I've put on a kilo of muscle, which in effect means I've lost 6 pounds or 3 kilos of fat. If my weight's gone down, but I've ended up gaining muscle, and it's fat that I've lost. My body fat has gone from 15% to 12%. My hydration has gone up. My bone density has gone up. And my visceral fat has gone down for the first time in 5 years. So I'm eating
That's very good.
everything full fat, and the fat, my internal fat around my organs has gone down.
Which is, the fat I worry
Which is
about.
like, how does that's intuitively, even for me, when I looked at those results, think, I don't get this. I can't understand this. I've never felt as strong. I'm bench pressing as much as I've ever bench pressed in my life. I'm curling 24, 26 kilos now, which I haven't been doing for 3 or 4 years.
Right.
The sprinting's going well. Mentally, I'm coping with a lot of difficult things at the moment in a regulated way. And so that's the evangelical bit. And it won't be right for most people.
I don't think it's evangelical at all. I think you're just going...
Just reporting.
I think you've had an idea we've talked about this a lot, so you've had an idea for a while that actually suits you.
Yeah.
We've talked about it where you've had other meals, I don't want to kind of put this delicately, where you've just gone along with what everybody else is eating.
Yeah.
I do exactly the same.
Yeah.
Knowing full well it's probably not going to... Well, one, it's not the diet you're on, or two, those things are probably going to stuff me up a little bit.
Yeah.
You do it, don't you, to please people, and you don't want to get into an argument about... and that's probably stuffed you up, hasn't it?
It has, but it's interesting you were saying about the eating things. I was thinking, this is the strange. This is the Sainsbury's bit where you were saying it's extra admin. I think there is a narrative about what we have. There's all these sound bites. Breakfast is the best meal of the day. Bollocks. That was just put out by Kellogg.
Yeah.
A good start of the day would be this, this, and this. Don't you get bored of having 4 eggs every day? Don't you get bored of porridge every day? Don't you get bored of cornflakes every day?
Yeah, exactly.
Very few people change their breakfasts.
Yeah.
And I'm having it, and people actually who will have porridge every day go, God, you must get bored. Don't you get bored of steak every day? Try having steak every day and tell me if you're bored.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing was, if I was vegan and I was going to friends for dinner and going, oh, little reminder, I'm vegan. Oh, that's all right. We'll get you an aubergine and pumpkin fucking whatever.
Yeah.
If I go to my friends, oh, by the way, I only eat steak and eggs, they go, well, bring your own fucking steak then. Do you know what I mean? It's like...
absolutely.
And it's like, no,
brilliant.
Like a 5-egg omelette.
What you
eat
eat at the moment,
God, why am I doing a bloody omelette?
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? It's like, you can be different, but you can only be different if it's vegan or vegetarian. And that'd be a really interesting thing, wouldn't it? To go to somebody, I'm coming over a dinner party. Yeah, I'm only having steak and eggs. And they're going, well, it won't hurt for one. It won't hurt for one. That's like saying to a vegan, just have a bit of wild boar. It won't, once in a while, it's not going to hurt you.
That's right.
And so I have evangelical. It's like I've just said to you, I've just spent £40, and every single thing is just protein.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've physically, I'm probably, I think, the strongest I've been in my life.
That's great. That's really good.
Which is great. Yeah.
Do you want to cook me some food, and then we'll come back to this? I want to talk about how some of the changes I've seen in you, Mark.
You can try if you get bored of steak.
Yeah. That's it for this episode. We'll come back. Well done for getting this far, and thanks for listening to us. Remember that you can follow us on the socials by searching for imfinecast, and feel free to drop us an email at imfinecast@gmail.com. Well, in the next episode, we'll be carrying on with a bit more of...
Yeah, and can I just... Let me just put... This is so strange, not having my headphones on and talking. It's like I can't...
It just doesn't work, does it?
I can hear my voice now.
Yeah.
Something I sent through to you, that little bit about destination and journey, I think this will link in really well, if you don't mind. So...
No, perfect, yeah.
Just as a teaser, what I was
we like those.
wanting to investigate, and I actually did a whole podcast driving the other day, like out loud, was so many people are only able to see the destination, so their target or their goal. And someone I was training with, Lauren, who I was training with the other day, had said she does work with Amelia. She's one of Amelia's clients, and she said she'd said to Amelia, because it's a 12-week challenge.
Yeah. When
Amelia said like, "Oh, we need to know your goals," Lauren goes, "I haven't got any."
Yeah.
It's almost like it's the journey that's important.
Yeah.
And I wanted to sort of link in this food thing, and also then to widen it in terms of, are we becoming to a position where it's like the end goal is all important, whereas it should be the lead up to that goal is equally, if not more, important. And I wanted to reflect this on the diet.
We can.
Cool.
Nice one. Okay, so we'll see you in a bit.
Yeah, cheers.
Bye.